Hello, my name is Arik Cohen. I'm a program manager on the Project xCloud team, and I'm really excited to share with you the journey that we've been on together and the learnings from the past year of Project xCloud since the last time we chatted at the Game Developers Conference. I'm very sorry not to be able to speak with you there, but I'm happy to be able to share our learnings and what we've been up to with the overall audience as part of the GameStack Live event today. We're going to go over a couple different things. One, all the great work that has been done by you as game developers and that we've been working together with you and the experiences that have been enabled via Project xCloud and game streaming overall. With that work and with the Project xCloud preview available, we've had a lot of learnings of how people play, how games react when they are operating in servers that are hosted in Project xCloud. And we'll talk a little bit about the opportunities that you have around optimizing your game for streaming. This last year has been an amazing year for us here on the xCloud team. We've been working together with you since we announced Project xCloud to game developers and introduced the capabilities that you'll have available to you at the GDC 2019. We work working closely with you and bringing up servers around the world, scaling up our infrastructure and making it so that gamers will be able to play anywhere that they want. And in October 2019, we opened the Project xCloud public preview. It was initially available in the United States, the United Kingdom, and South Korea with only a subset of 4 games. In November, we expanded to many more gamers, and we expanded with many more titles, going over 50 titles available in November 2019. We've continued to make content additions and now have over 80 games available for people in the public preview. We have hundreds of thousands of users in the public preview, and in February, we also added support for iOS. The preview initially launched on Android devices only. We also added support for another country, Canada, so that players there could stream these games to their mobile devices and really get a rich experience with Project xCloud. And that brings us to where we are today. With the postponement of the Game Developer Conference, we'd still like to be able to talk to you about how it's really available for all Xbox developers today. We are releasing a new enhanced test application for our game developers to really reduce the amount of work to optimize your game for game development. And if you've got an Xbox game, you can start making those cloud-aware changes and making your game more optimized for a streaming experience today. So as I mentioned, in October, we went into preview. And the preview has been phenomenally successful for us. It's had hundreds of thousands of players that are playing 80 plus games. And we've gotten huge amounts of feedback from them. Over 100,000 pieces of feedback from our gaming community. And when we take a look at it, and we really appreciate all the notes of people loving the service, but we've really taken a look at that and tried to analyze and understand how are people playing. Take a look at it, it breaks into a couple different behaviors. One is, how is gaming behavior different on a mobile environment? When you're streaming a console game to your mobile phone, and all the games that we have in the public preview are really just the native console version, running in consoles that are in data centers around the world. And that makes it easy for the games to get in there. But the behavior of players is a little bit different. For example, one of the things that we've seen is people are discovering a ton new games. In a streaming environment, the friction to get into a game is much, much lower. I don't have to download the full game. I don't have to kind of have it all available on my console before I get started. So gamers are really trying new games. It's quick to get into a game, and they expect to be able to start playing that game kind of in a mobile first. Let me get started with it right away. It's enabling a bunch of new ways to play. Now, part of this was intuitively obvious to us as, hey, now people are going to be carrying it around in a variety of different places. But whether that's on the road, whether they're doing it at work, whether they're doing it in the home, even the environment of, hey, the living room TV is being used for something else, for watching TV, for watching a movie. Now you're still able to access that console. You're still able to access your favorite games and continue to play with them and engage with them in a variety of different ways. What this all leads to is more playtime. What we have seen is that gamers are playing more. And it's not reducing their gameplay on the console. This is net additive gameplay. But from the behavior that we're seeing, over 3/4 of the players that are playing right now are playing more overall. So access to games via a streaming environment, via the Project xCloud, is actually just enhancing their overall gameplay experience and their ability to play with your game and interact with your game in a variety of different places. But we are seeing that sessions are a bit shorter. This is primarily a factor only on the super long sessions. When we take a look at individual games, the average session length over the first 45 minutes seems remarkably similar. And the histogram and the usage of those games is about the same. What we're seeing less of is the game sessions that are an hour, 2 hours long. And this, again, is not necessarily something that is surprising when people are playing on a different form factor and playing it more on the go. We've also seen a bunch of changes or a bunch of behavioral changes for games themselves. Our experiences with you in bringing the 80+ games over into Project xCloud has been, by and large, you've had to make no changes into the game itself to have it run. And it just works great for players. However, there are a couple differences in the way that people are playing and the way that it gets exposed that it is important to look at as you're designing your game and thinking about streaming. First is the speed to the server. If you take a look at a traditional multiplayer game, the bandwidth between the console where the game is running, or the client where the game is running, and your game server is normally there's latency involved there. There needs to be work around compensating it. But when the game is running, when the console and the game client is running in an Azure data center and connecting to your game server, which may be running in an Azure data center or somewhere else, that connection is lightning fast. In fact, we've seen a couple games where they've had some issues, where when they were rounding to milliseconds, they never expected the client to the server to be 0. So it is so fast that it really reduces some of the constraints that you've had of how do you synchronize data between your game clients and your game servers. The other thing that happens is you'll get much more frequent disconnections. Now, for a game that has not optimized itself for game streaming, this will show up as a set of controller disconnects. And this will happen when the player is multitasking, when they have to answer a phone call, when they're answering a text, when they're putting it down to take a look at something. And these happen more frequently than a controller disconnect happens when they're on their living room console or when they're playing on a PC. So you'll see more disconnects in this. That doesn't mean that they're playing any less. In fact, they're playing just as much, or if not more. But the behavioral patterns will be different. And this is important because lots of games try to validate that usage to make sure that it's not a fraudulent pattern. The pattern of usage is what they're expecting. And that's going to be different, again, when working via Project xCloud. For example, you are used to, with your game, if you're taking a look at how many consoles does a player run from, you may only expect that to have a small handful of consoles that they run from. But in a Project xCloud scenario, every time I connect to the game, a new server gets spun up, and I may get one of thousands upon thousands of the servers in the cloud. So if you're looking at fraudulent behavior of how many people, how many consoles does a player log in from, or how many players log in from a specific console, those behavioral differences aren't just a change when you are in a streaming environment. You have the ability to detect all of those behaviors and adjust your warning or your validation logic, but this is something to consider in the game. It's also important when you're streaming a game to make sure that you have all the rights for streaming all of the content within the game. Not just the assets and the gameplay behavior, but the music and the video that you show inside your game. So one of the things that we have seen games have to look at is, hey, do we have the streaming rights for all of this? How do we have the right access? And how, if we don't have the rights for it in certain scenarios, how do we make sure that in those experiences we meet the contractual obligations that we have for the intellectual rights owners of that content? We've also seen, as gamers have been playing those games on Project xCloud, them come back with requests. Requests for us into the service, requests for you on how to make your game better for them. And when we take a look at it, the first and foremost thing, they want more games. We started out with 4, we went to 50, we're at over 80, I think we're over 90 right now. That's still not enough. It's still the #1 piece of feedback we get from gamers. They want more games. They want your games. They want your games to be able to play, and they want to be able to play all of their favorite games. So getting your game into the Project xCloud preview and as we go into launch, making your game streamable is one of those things that players will expect and players will demand. But on the other hand, the readability is not the same on a large screen TV versus on a mobile device. So the way you've designed your game, whether that's the font size in your menus or your HUD UI, can be problematic for people when they're playing it on a smaller device. Now, this becomes especially problematic as people try new games and they're trying to discover and learn and follow the tutorials and get invested in your gameplay. It's much less of an issue, as we've seen in our testing in the user research labs, for players that are comfortable with your game and know where everything is. And if they're a common player of your game on the console and then they come and play it on xCloud, they don't have many problems with it. But the new players that you're bringing into the game, they want to have that richer experience and a simpler experience for them starting out. And we give you, via the Cloud-Aware SDK, the APIs to be able to scale your game and understand what is the screen size of the player as they're playing so that you can create a great experience for them. They also want to be able to play without a controller, right? So right now, people are carrying around, and all of these hundreds of thousands of Project xCloud players are carrying around controllers with their mobile devices. They want to have a chance for more gameplay opportunity when there's no controller being required. And you have the ability to add touch either natively into your game or using our touch adaptation kit, which maps a set of touch overlays into the controller input that you get. Again, this is something that you're going to want to do and optimize for your game, and that will make it available to even more players, to the players that don't have a controller on their hands when they want to play your game. And also, they want it to feel right on their network. Everyone is connecting from a variety of different network profiles, whether that is from their mobile data or whether that is from the Wi-Fi in their home or at their work or at their place of study. But it's always a little bit different. And just as you have done tremendous amounts of work as an industry together to make multiplayer work well across a variety of different network behaviors. This is an opportunity for you to make that game feel even more intuitive and effective when game streaming on any one of those connections. When we take a look at those requests that gamers have, how they want to interact with your game, it really boils down to optimizing your game for streaming. And when you optimize that game for streaming, you have new abilities. You have the ability to level up your experiences. You have the ability to level up your gamers' experiences, your players' experiences, and you have the ability to level up the overall opportunity that you have for game streaming. So when we take a look at how we are looking at enabling you to increase your capabilities, the first and foremost is develop as usual. You're going to use your standard Xbox development kit and integrate easily into your development workflow. The fact that you want to add additional capabilities, whether that be touch, network resiliency, all of those can be done from your desk with your normal development processes. You can connect up to your local development kit and you can test those experiences there. But then you're going to want to be able to bring it and see how it works when it's hosted in the Azure data centers. And you can continue to develop globally. You'll be able to work closely with your Microsoft program representative to get your game deployed in a region that's closer to you. We are available in over 3 times the Azure regions that we had support with in GDC 2019, and we continue to roll out on a regular basis, not just scale and experiences for gamers that are playing the Project xCloud preview, but for you as developers to make sure that there's always an Xbox in the cloud ready for you in your local region that you can have access to so that you can get and test the experiences that your players will have. You're also really having the ability to build to the future. Since this game is now hosted in Azure, in an Azure data center, now all of a sudden, a bunch of the constraints that you have had to deal with, in, for example, in multiplayer, of what is the bandwidth between your game server and your game client? How do I compress all of that data? How do I have access to all of my multiplayer servers in a rich way? All of that, those constraints become changed, and you have the ability to really take advantage of the full set of Azure services, whether that's using PlayFab Azure for your multiplayer servers and being able to launch immediately in the same data center that you're running in, or easy access to data storage or analytics or additional compute. All of that allows you to make decisions about where your gameplay logic is going to live, where your simulation engines are at that, and you really get to build towards the future of a cloud-based development strategy. It's not enough to just make you more efficient, make you more available. You also want to level up your players' experiences. You want to create a great streaming optimized experience. And to look at how to build all of this, I highly encourage you to watch my colleague Sean Farkas's talk about optimizing and creating the best game streaming experience for your players. He'll walk you through all the APIs and the capabilities that are necessary to build out all of these experiences. I'll go over a little bit about what you can do. The first and foremost thing you want to do is you want to make it feel native for their device. You want to provide an experience that's optimized for their screen, for their input patterns, and that's really enabling a player to pick it up and feel like this is a mobile friendly experience. This is not just a console game that's running on the phone. They're playing a ton of it, they love it, but they want to be able to play an even more intuitive, a richer experience on their device. You also want to optimize for their connectivity. You've done a lot of work over the last time in multiplayer techniques where you kind of balance between players that have different network latencies. And you use the server as the game server as the source of truth there. Well, you're going to want to adapt some of those same pieces where now on the game itself, between the player and the game, where the game is running, the console and the cloud, you're going to want to use those same strategies in order to deal with the latency, the last mile latency for the player, and really deliver them a great experience no matter what network connectivity that they're on. You're also going to want to scale up your game. There's a ton of limits that you've had to deal with where you think about, I'm running on a single device in the home. Whether that's the console or the PC, what are the constraints that I'm running in? Now you're running in that Azure data center. You have the ability to access a near unlimited set of bandwidth, a near unlimited set of compute resources. How does that change you? Does that enable you to add new experiences like adding more entities into your game and having your physics engine and your game logic be able to adapt to that very easily? Or is it enabling broader multiplayer capabilities where you no longer are limited by the latency between the game and the server, and maybe you can handle more and more players in your multiplayer world in order to do this? All of these experiences help level up your game, make it a richer game for your player in a streaming world. It makes their experience better and makes them really want to play this game even more in those scenarios. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, Project xCloud allows you to level up your opportunity. Your business opportunity gets much, much greater. With one game, you build that game, it makes it much, much easier to bring your game to markets around the world. Reach gamers that don't have an Xbox console. Reach markets where traditionally people aren't playing console or PC games. Where is it that people are playing using a mobile-first environment, and how do you bring your great, rich gaming experiences to those players? Build it once, and you're able to deploy it to the Project xCloud servers and have it be exposed and streamed to players everywhere. And they get to play it everywhere that they want. Whether that is on their console because they're playing the native console game, whether they're playing it on their mobile device, or moving forward with a PC client and other clients. Gamers will have the ability to continue and pick up your gameplay no matter where they want to play. So they're going to get to play it more. And that leads to more playtime. That means that players will be able to play your game more often. They'll be able to discover your game more easily. And once they're there, they're going to be able to play it anywhere they want. They're going to be able to play their game with their friends anywhere they want and however they want. When you take a look at all of this, we think that there's a great opportunity for you to bring your game and optimize it for streaming. You need to look a little bit about building for Project xCloud. Anybody that's an Xbox developer can make their games cloud aware. It's available via all of the SDKs that you use today. You'll be able to use the new content test application that we're releasing to make it easier to test in your local dev kit scenarios, local development kit scenarios. You'll also be able to go to Project xCloud servers anywhere around the world in an Azure region close to you so that you can do testing and validation from the cloud. New regions and clients are coming. We've talked a little bit about bringing PC. We've talked about India, Japan, Western Europe. These are all markets that we're coming to very shortly and that will have the ability to stream your game to. So this allows you to bring your game to players anywhere around the world on all of their devices and really get a rich set of experiences there. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm glad to have been able to share a little bit about the journey that we've been on together and what Project xCloud has learned from its preview over last year. If you haven't used the preview yet, please go to xbox.com/game streaming and you can experience the Project xCloud preview today and start streaming your game today. If you look at kind of the last site here, it really has all of the information necessary for you on how to sign up as an Xbox developer, how to get access to the docs, how to get access to the SDKs, how to get access to the test applications. We look forward to seeing the great experiences that you're going to build in your game on Project xCloud in the near future. Thank you.